Hey, welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Lewis, and today I'm going to be giving you the 5 things that I absolutely love about my 2022 Honda Civic Si. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll notice that I'm doing a little bit different of a setup, and this is just so I can deliver videos a lot easier and quicker for you guys versus just setting everything up in my garage, especially when I'm not doing an install video. This is probably the platform that I'm going to deliver it on. And, you know, obviously when I am doing an install video, it's going to be on my garage and it's going to go step by step. But for the time being, let me know what you guys want to see in this podcast style platform. I mean, we can talk about anything. I can make videos, reaction videos, and yeah, just deliver a lot more content like this versus having to wait for parts for me to do install videos on. So for the first thing that I really love about the car is going to be the overall look. Now, I'm going to emphasize overall look because there are some things about the car that I don't necessarily like. And that has to do a lot with the two-tone blacks and stuff like that. And I'll mention all of this in a future video about probably going to be called 5 things I don't like. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I overall love the look of the car. It's a lot more toned down than the previous generation. So if you own a 10th gen or you've seen the 10th gens, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's not always a bad thing because now that we have this toned down Civic, we don't get the fake vents in the front and the back like we used to. And some of the other stuff that really bothered me about the Civic, like a lot of you enjoyed the HDMI exhaust, but I was not a fan of the HDMI exhaust. I actually prefer the dual tip exhaust that's on this new Civic versus the previous generation Civics. But overall, I really do enjoy it. I like how there's no fake vents anymore. I like the grille of the car. I really enjoy the lines that the car has, even though they're not as sharp as the 10th gen. I really enjoy the mirrors on this car. They're not as huge as the previous generation mirrors were. That used to bother the heck out of me. I don't know why, I just don't like giant mirrors on a car. Now, it should be mentioned that I did not buy the car with the HPD package. That is something that I negotiated with the dealership when I was buying the car. So I got to drive away with it without the HPD package and kind of drive around, look back at it without it on. And then eventually, once I got it on, I realized that the HPD package should just come standard with all the SI trims. I mean, to me, it makes sense. I get it. It's an extra couple. I mean, depending on the dealership, they could charge you anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 for that package. But I think it's worth negotiating with your dealer. So if that's something that you really enjoy, I would highly encourage you to get them to pay for that. That's what I did, and it turned out great for me. With that being said, I think that the HPD package completely transforms the car. Now, what do you get in the HPD package is going to be the blacked out emblems, some front lip pieces, the side skirts, a rear diffuser, and a little wing for the trunk. And that's pretty much it. And that alone just completely transformed the car. And if you want to look even cooler, like me, then you would black out the roof like I did. I got it wrapped in a gloss black, and I think it really just made the car that much more aggressive. Also, I have an aftermarket 271 exhaust, so if you look at the videos and you see that I have a different exhaust than you, that's why. But the stock exhaust does sound really good from the factory. I think it sounds better than the previous generation, and a lot of you will agree with me, especially if you've seen my exhaust install video. I think a lot of you did agree with me in the comment section. So now that we talked about number 1 being the exterior, number 2 is going to be the handling of the car. I think this car handles phenomenally, but there are some improvements that can be made, and that includes getting a better wheel and tire package. But from factory, if you guys are buying this car and it has all seasons, I encourage you to try and get the dealership to get all summer tires, especially if you're in a place that you don't need all seasons. If you need it, that's perfectly fine. But like me, I live in Texas. There's no real reason why I need to have all seasons. It's cold for like 2 weeks out of the year here. I highly encourage you to get the summer tires because I do go in the back roads and do some spirited driving, and the all seasons really don't do me any favors. But for the most part, the handling is amazing. Where I point the wheels is where the car goes. It pulls itself out of the tight corners, and especially if you do some upgrades to it. I haven't done suspension upgrades, but what I have done is the strut bar and the rear motor mount, and that alone completely transformed the car. So for the handling upgrades that I'm currently running is the PRL front strut bar and the rear motor mount. If you're wondering what the rear motor mount does, it just prevents the engine from flexing. So when you put the car under heavy load, when you're trying to pull yourself out of the corner, instead of the wheels wanting to come up, they're gonna stay to the ground a lot better than without a rear motor mount, and you'll be able to get more traction and pull yourself out of corners. And the same goes for the strut bar. Instead of the car flexing, it increases rigidity so you can keep both tires on the ground and create that much more traction. A lot of you may have known that I used to own a 2018 Honda Civic Type R, and the most common question that I get is, how does this car compare to the Type R? And really, I mean, it's no competition. The Type R will always win. But if we're talking relative to price, I think that the Civic Si comes in a really close second as far as handling goes for what you pay for. So don't think that you're not going to get excellent handling. Honda has really knocked it out of the park with the front wheel drive game. Like, there's no torque steer. Wherever you point the front wheels is where the car is going to go. Eventually, I would like to do a coilover install for you guys, or lowering spring installs, and yeah, see how much better we can get the handling to get, because it's already amazing, and I think we can only go up from here. I do, however, think that the car can benefit greatly from a wheel and tire package. I do love the wheels on this car. I should have mentioned it in the exterior portion of this video, but I think they're amazing. I think they're one of the better looking stock wheels that have came on a Honda in a long time. And this is, I've owned a 9th gen, a 10th gen, and now the 11th gen, and by far the 11th gen stock wheels are my favorite, so much so that I don't feel like I'm in a rush to take them off and put aftermarket ones. But if we're talking about enhancing the car, getting a lighter wheel and a better tire is going to make a huge difference in terms of handling. All right, on to number 3, and that is going to be the engine. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking, that the engine is super tiny in this car. It's a 1.5 liter, but although it is tiny, it is a mighty engine, and I wouldn't knock it till you try it. I've thrown, I don't know how many bolt-ons at this engine already. It just takes it, the ECU adjusts to whatever changes I make to it, and it just goes, and it takes it very welcomely, and I've never had any issues. I have used Honda off-the-shelf maps and K-Tuner off-the-shelf maps, and the engine just performs every single time. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking is that I should definitely get a tune when I put all these bolt-ons. Well, I should definitely get a custom tune when I put all these bolt-ons on the car. And you're right, I should. But I'm waiting on a couple of things before I go ahead and go full custom tune. So just stay tuned for that. But if you guys are curious as to how well the engine will last, you can live curiously through me, because I'm just, you know, full bolt-ons and off-the-shelf tunes is what I'm doing. I even have flex fuel, and the car just loves ethanol. I mean, the car completely changes, so much so that I can't run too much ethanol, because as many of you know, the clutch is definitely the weak point in this car, and it just starts slipping super bad, and it's annoying. So I try not to run ethanol too much just because of the clutch. All right, so on to number 4, and that is going to be the interior of the car. I think the interior has received a much needed update, especially with the infotainment, because for a long time I felt like the infotainment was completely dated. I had a 9th gen SI, and the infotainment on the 10th gens felt almost the same. Like, there was really no big difference, and I'm pretty sure it was for the most part the same. A couple differences here and there, and we finally get a volume knob from the very beginning. So for those of you that own 10th gens or 9th gens, you'll know that it was that touch thing, and it was pretty obnoxious. We finally get a actual analog turn knob, and it works pretty good for the most part. I also like how the infotainment's on top of the dash. It looks real modern. And then I also like the gauges, although I am a little salty that we didn't get the all digital gauges that literally every other country got for the SI trim. You can get the all digital gauges in like the touring models and other Civics, but the SI does not come with the old digital gauge like it does. We also don't get heated steering wheel, we don't get heated seats, and we don't get wireless charging. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. The States didn't get those. So even though that's the case for here in the States, the gauges are still really good. I enjoy using them. They look really clean. I have no complaints. The seats are also really comfortable. I really enjoy sitting in them. I do, however, would prefer if they were all black with just a red SI emblem. I think that would look really good, but they went with a darker red on the seats, and that's fine. I think it looks good. I also like the cup holders that they did this generation versus the previous generation cup holders. I thought the previous generation cup holders was weird. It's like this 2-tier cup holder thing. And yeah, the cup holders are much better in this car. So if that's something that you consider when buying a car, I think you'll enjoy this car. I also really enjoy wireless Apple CarPlay, even though it does has its bugs. For the most part, it works really well and I enjoy using it. So there are gonna be some things that I don't like about the interior that really annoy me. And again, I'm gonna mention that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But we can now move on to number 5, and that is going to be the shifter on this car. So if you've been driving Hondas for a while, you'll know for a fact that they are known for how good their shifters are. And this one is no exception. This one is so good that I am really curious how they're gonna improve on this for the 2023 Type R that's coming out. Also, this shifting system does come with rev matching. That's something that we didn't get in the previous generation SI that was exclusive to the Type R model, but we get it now and it's a lot more improved compared to the last generation Type R. So I think that's something that you're really gonna enjoy if you don't already have an SI. But yeah, I don't know how much better they can improve on the shifter. Again, I would love to get my hands on a new Type R and see how much better it can get. The shifts are just really smooth. They're super engaging. They're really short, especially if you upgrade to the shifter linkage bushing like how I have from Acuity and the insulated Poco shift knob. It just makes the whole experience that much better. And also, if you get the insulated shift knob, you won't sear your hand off in the summertime. So yeah, in case you're wondering, the shift knob that I have is not the stock one. The stock one looks a lot different. It's like a leather / aluminum shift knob. So that pretty much sums up this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to making more videos like this. Please, by all means, let me know what you want to see, and I'll try to make it happen. And yeah, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you're new, be sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.